I grew up trailing after Ethan. Everyone assumed we were a couple, but he never admitted it. Not until the day he left the country. At the airport he tugged me into a corner and kissed me. He said, "Wait for me to come back." 3 years later I went to the airport to pick him up, only to run into him and his pack of friends. His childhood buddy asked with a sloppy grin, "So what really happened? Did you actually dump our little shadow?" Ethan wheeled his luggage, smiling lazy and thin. "What else? I could hardly drag dead weight overseas." I stood riveted near the arrivals gate, the scarf I'd knitted for him twisted tight in my fists. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment telling us where you're listening. I went to the airport to meet Ethan. He'd been abroad 3 years. We'd kept this vague connection alive across a 7-hour time gap. In the craft boutique bag in my hand was the scarf I'd spent 3 months knitting, ash gray, his favorite color. I rose on tiptoe among the crowd at the gate and spotted him quickly. He was still blindingly obvious, plain white tee and black denim, a crane among chickens. A knot of friends who'd come to meet him ringed him, kids we'd grown up with. Zane's grin was the loudest. He punched Ethan's shoulder. "Nice, Ethan, 3 whole years hitting the books. So, for real, you ditch our little parasite?" My heart folded in on itself. My feet seemed nailed to the floor. The next second I heard Ethan's voice, travel weary but still light and cool, drift over. What else was I supposed to do? Couldn't exactly haul dead weight abroad. Laughter exploded around them. I felt every drop of blood in me freeze. My limbs were cold as if yanked from a freezer. The paper bag in my hand weighed 1,000 pounds. Laughing and shoving, they headed for another exit. Ethan, in the middle of the pack, never once glanced my way. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Ethan, sent 3 minutes earlier. "Ren, I've landed, Gate A. Don't get lost. Ren." That's what he always called me. So fondly it felt as though I were his one and only treasure. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred and my eyes burned. So the boy I'd waited 3 years for had tagged me, even then, as nothing but dead weight, baggage he couldn't wait to drop. I crushed the scarf in my grip, fingernails digging half-moons into my palm. I turned, walked to the nearest trash can, and dropped the craft boutique bag that held 3 months of my heart. My name is Ren, Ethan's little shadow. That nickname glued itself to me when I was 6. Our families lived in the communal courtyard complex and our parents were old friends. I was a quiet kid who never talked much. While the others played eagle catches chick, I could spend an afternoon watching ants move house. So I got picked on. One day the biggest, tallest kid around, Bubba, snatched my lollipop and shoved me to the ground. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the thin beads of blood on my knee. That was when Ethan showed up. He was 2 years older and already the courtyard's kingpin. He grabbed Bubba by the collar, demanded the lollipop back, and ordered an apology. Bubba refused. Without a word Ethan punched him. It was the first time I'd seen Ethan that fierce. He punched until Bubba bawled, retrieved the half-licked lollipop, and stuffed it into my hand. Then he squatted to look at me. "How can you be this dumb, letting people walk over you and not hitting back?" His tone was sharp, but I wasn't afraid. He took my hand and hauled me up, dusting grit from my clothes. "Stick with me from now on, let's see who dares touch you." From that day on I really did become his shadow. Where he went, I went. He played basketball, I waited on the sidelines with his water. He hit the arcade, I kept watch at the door for adults. He did homework, I read quietly next to him. Everyone in the courtyard knew I was under Ethan's protection. No one ever bullied me again. N, by nature, had zero patience, but for me he always spared a sliver. He'd push snacks he didn't want to me, slow his steps when I tired, tilt the golf umbrella so it sheltered me on rainy days. Bit by bit he became the only light in my whole childhood and adolescence. I thought I would trail that light forever. I thought we shared a wordless, built-in understanding. Only today did I realize, even light can loathe the shadow that clings to it, calling it dead weight. 3 back at Whitman I flung myself on the bed and yanked the quilt over my head. In the dark, tears slipped noiselessly out, soaking the pillow. On the nightstand my phone vibrated like crazy. No need to look, it had to be Ethan. I didn't want to answer. I had no idea what face or what tone to use on him. Should I demand why he talked about me like that? Or should I play dumb and keep being his little shadow? I couldn't do either. My mind was a mess of memories. In middle school we were still at the same campus. My grades were mediocre. Ethan was the kind of genius who could rank top without seeming to try. My math was a disaster. Every math test felt like a tribulation. Once, during mid-semester, I scored an all-time low. Hayes screamed at me and cut my allowance for 2 weeks. I hid in my room crying until Ethan saw me from his window and vaulted straight over the wall between our houses. He tapped my window. I pulled the curtain and found him wearing his trademark scowl. "What are you bawling for?" "One lousy test." He clambered in and parked himself at my desk. "Hand me the paper, I'll walk you through it." That afternoon he sat beside me, red pen in hand, dissecting every mistake. His voice was a clear, boyish tenor, but when he lectured he was merciless. "Didn't we just do this last week? Pig brain? Ren, is your skull full of water? Can't even see a simple auxiliary line?" I kept my head down under the barrage. But lecture or not, he never dumped me mid-explanation. He'd re-explain, by different routes, until I finally got it. Mid-lesson a soft piano melody drifted from the speakers in his study, some piece I didn't know. Ethan's hand paused, his gaze drifted as though he were looking through me at something far away. "Ethan, that song's beautiful, what is it?" I asked quietly. He snapped back. "Dunno. Just random shuffle." Yet from that afternoon on that track cycled on repeat in his study. Later I learned its name, Claire. Sienna played it during the school arts festival. Sienna, the campus queen, gifted pianist, acknowledged goddess, and Ethan's secret moonlight. For in the end I ignored Ethan. The phone buzzed for ages, then finally fell silent, and the world followed suit. I sat up, walked to the window, and gazed at the lit-up city. This was the Riverside district, vibrant and young. I, meanwhile, had lived too long inside a shell called Ethan. Next morning, with puffy almond eyes, I dragged myself to class. I'd signed up for a photo elective purely for credit. The professor droned about aperture and shutter, I absorbed nothing. All I heard was Ethan's word, dead weight. "Hey, you okay? You look pale." A gentle voice drifted from the next seat. I turned and saw a boy I didn't know, clean white shirt, black frame glasses, the gentle scholarly type. I recognized him, Aaron, the guy who always answered questions, the rumored Photosoc president. I shook my head. "I'm fine, just didn't sleep." He gave a small nod, pushed no further, and slid his notes toward me. "The key stuff's all written down, have a look." His handwriting was gorgeous, spare gold script, as refined as he was. "Thanks," I murmured. Class ended quickly. I packed up to leave, but Aaron stopped me. "Ren, right?" I nodded. He smiled, eyes curving into crescents. "I checked the roster, your name is beautiful. Is it the one from deep in the forest you see the deer, blue sea time you meet the whale?" I froze. No one had ever read my name that way. Everyone else joked that Ren sounded like ruin, inauspicious. Even Ethan had teasingly called me Wreck. I offered a shy grin. "Nope. My parents just wanted me to stay up late, good for my health." Aaron laughed. "That interpretation's cute too." He hesitated, then spoke. "Next week our club is doing a shoot at Maplewood. You photograph beautifully, you have a special vibe. Would you consider modeling for us?" Model? My instinct was to refuse. I was used to being background decor, I'd never imagined stepping in front of a lens. But meeting his earnest, expectant gaze, the word no wouldn't come out. Maybe I should try something I'd never dared do, step out of Ethan's shadow and into my own spotlight. "Sure," I heard myself answer. 5 in high school Ethan's and my relationship had become an open secret. We weren't dating, yet everyone assumed we were. We walked to school and home together. After hoops he'd automatically chuck his jacket at me. I'd naturally fish a bottle of water from his backpack. In the cafeteria he'd scrape all the bell pepper and carrot he loathed into my bowl, and I'd split my braised pork belly with him. That level of intimacy convinced the whole class, even the teachers, who pulled me aside and hinted, "You and Ethan, keep it appropriate, don't let your grades slide because of him." I denied it, cheeks flaming. The teacher smiled knowingly and urged, "Ethan's marks are solid, make sure you keep up." When I relayed the lecture, Ethan merely chuckled and ruffled my hair. "Ignore her, you're perfect as you are." Back then I thought that meant he liked me just the way I was. Now I realize he only found me, average grades, no opinions, easier to control that way. Sienna in high school was every boy's daydream, pretty, top scores, dazzling talent, a distant star. Ethan was no exception. I'd catch him in the hall, on the field, every corner of campus, gaze fixed on her. That focus, that heat, that bright obsession only a teenage boy can have, it was a radiance I never saw when he looked at me. One year, the school organized a spring recital and Sienna was slated to play the piano. Ethan pulled me through the crowd until we were planted in the very front row of the auditorium. He said, "The view's perfect here." The lights came up and Sienna, dressed in a flowing white gown, sat before the piano like a fairy untainted by earthly dust. The piece she played was Claire. Its lingering notes drifted through the hall. I sneaked a glance at Ethan beside me. In the dim light his profile looked gentler than I had ever seen it. The corners of his mouth curled slightly, and in his eyes shone an adoration and yearning I couldn't read. At that moment I knew, crystal clear, I was only a habit he kept close, while Sienna was the dream hidden deepest in his heart. When the performance ended and the crowd dispersed, Ethan stayed in his seat, motionless for the longest time. I called softly, "Ethan, time to go." He came back to himself and looked at me, confusion still swirling in his gaze. Suddenly he asked, "Ren, do you think I'm useless?" I had no idea why he would say that, I could only shake my head. "To me, you're the most amazing person in the world." He gave a self-mocking laugh and said nothing more. That night I saw he had posted a private Instagram story. The photo showed Sienna's silhouette on stage. The caption read, "Stars, how do you pluck them?" 6. Ethan still tracked down my school. That afternoon, just after class, I found him leaning against a plane tree outside liberal arts. He wore a simple black hoodie, hands buried in his pockets, impatience written on his face. The moment he spotted me he straightened and strode over. "Ren, you've grown gutsy, blacklisting me?" His tone carried accusation and anger, as though I had committed some unforgivable sin. I looked at him, my heart calm, no more nervous flutter, no guilty flinch. "Is something wrong?" I asked flatly. My attitude choked him silent, his frown deepened. "What's that supposed to mean? I fly back and you don't even pick me up, plus you ghost and block me?" His sense of entitlement almost made me laugh. "Why should I pick you up? What exactly are we? What are we?" Ethan acted as if he'd heard the world's funniest joke. "Ren, playing dumb now?" He stepped closer, reaching for my hand. I instinctively retreated, dodging his grasp. His hand froze midair, shock and disbelief flooding his face. "What are you dodging for?" "Ethan," I said, meeting his eyes, word by word, "I don't want to be your tag-along anymore." He stood stunned. Passing classmates glanced over, curious. Ethan's complexion turned ugly. He lowered his voice, threat threading through it. "Ren, cut it out. Come home with me." "This is my home," I answered, pointing at Whitman behind me. With that, I walked away without another glance. His exasperated shout came from behind. "Ren, stop right there." I never slowed. For the first time I didn't look back. I have no idea when Ethan left. Back in my room I realized my palms were slick with cold sweat. Standing up to him took more courage than I'd imagined. Yet my heart felt lighter than ever before, as though chains that had bound me for years had finally loosened a notch. 7. After that clash Ethan quieted down for a few days. My life gradually slid back on track, classes, the library, occasional shopping, and meals with roommates. Without Ethan, my world didn't crumble, only an emptiness lingered, like a house suddenly vacated after years of occupancy. On Saturday Aaron invited me to shoot photos at Maplewood. I agreed. I put on a simple white sundress, Ethan's favorite style on me. At the gate I saw Aaron already waiting, a big camera pack on his back. He smiled the instant he saw me. "You're here. You look lovely today." His praise was straightforward, unguarded, and it made me shy. "Thanks." We strolled the park's narrow paths. Aaron talked about photography as we walked. His words were vivid, nothing like a dry lecture. He'd point at a blossom and tell me the best angle, gesture toward a lake and explain how to use light and shadow. The way he saw the world was completely foreign to me, fresh and fascinating. He took dozens of photos of me, beneath an old tree, sitting on grass, gazing into the distance. At first I was tense and stiff. Aaron was patient, encouraging me constantly. "Yes, just like that, relax, give me a smile. Ren, your smile is gorgeous, your eyes curve like little moons." Under his guidance I slowly unwound. I began to enjoy being framed by the lens, as if I were no longer a disposable background but could be the protagonist of the picture. During a break we sat on a lakeside bench. Aaron handed me a bottle of water. "Tired?" I shook my head. "It's fun, actually." He studied me, then asked softly, "Ren, is something weighing on you?" I flinched. "Why do you ask? You always seem unhappy, like you're carrying heavy loads." I lowered my gaze, silent. Yes, I was laden with a decade-long secret crush, laden with every hurt Ethan ever gave. "Is it because of a guy?" Aaron ventured carefully. I didn't deny it. He sighed and let the question drop. He only said, "You're a great girl, Ren. You deserve to be treated well." That day the sun was perfect. A breeze rippled the lake into glittering scales. As I looked at the gentle boy beside me, some hard corner of my heart quietly began to thaw. 8. Ethan's patience had clearly run out. He started phoning my mother. Mom had always adored Ethan, his pedigree, his brilliance, sure he was my ideal match. The moment she heard from him she rang me. Ren, what on earth? Why are you throwing a tantrum at Ethan? Mom, I'm not. Don't lie. Ethan told me you blocked him, won't answer calls, won't see him. How childish can you be? Her tone brimmed with reproach. He's just come home and instead of caring for him you give him attitude, shameful. Listening to her scold, my chest tightened. Mom, it's my life. Stay out of it. How can I? You two grew up together, so close, whatever the misunderstanding, talk it through, don't be headstrong. There's no misunderstanding. You stubborn child. I hung up before she could finish. I knew that in everyone's eyes my quarrel with Ethan was my fault, my willfulness, my immaturity. Because a tag-along has no right to be angry. Minutes after I ended the call, the doormat knocked, someone was downstairs for me. I descended and saw Ethan. He seemed thinner, faint shadows beneath exhausted eyes. When he spotted me they lit up, he hurried over. Ren. His voice was hoarse. You're finally willing to see me. I regarded him without a ripple inside. You called my mother? His gaze slid away. I was worried about you. Worried, or thought pressuring me through her would make me fold? I stared coldly. His face darkened. Must you speak to me like this? How else? Like before, obedient, instantly at your beck and call? When have I ever treated you like that? His voice rose. Haven't you? I shot back. When you need me, I must appear, when you don't, I'm a burden. The word burden stabbed him, his face went white. You heard that? Yes, I answered, smile bitter. I heard, loud and clear. Ethan, I waited 3 years, not to come back and be called your burden. 9. Ethan panicked completely. He tried to explain, mouth opening and closing, no words emerging. Ren, that was just a joke with the guys, don't take it seriously. A joke? I studied him. You joke about my 3 years of waiting? About the decade I spent loving you? Shock flooded his features. You're saying you love me? Looking at him, I suddenly felt it was all pointless. Yes, I loved him. The whole world seemed to know, except him. Or perhaps he only pretended not to know, enjoying the superiority of being adored. It doesn't matter anymore, I said and turned to leave. He seized my wrist with startling force. It matters. How could it not? His eyes reddened, voice pleading. Ren, I'm sorry. I was an idiot. Forgive me, please? It was the first time Ethan had ever apologized to me, the first time he'd spoken in such a humble tone. Once, it might have melted me instantly. Now, it only felt ironic. I yanked my hand free. Ethan, we're done. Done? We never even began, he shouted, losing control. Exactly. We never began. It had all been my one-sided fantasy. I gazed at him and suddenly recalled the day before I went abroad, the day we had looked most like a couple. He took me to an amusement park, merry-go-round, roller coaster, cotton candy he bought for me, a Mickey headband he gently snapped on my head. At night we watched a movie. When we exited, a light rain was falling. He draped his jacket over my shoulders and pulled me tight beneath his umbrella. His embrace was warm, smelling faintly of tobacco. I leaned against his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. At that moment I truly believed we were in love. On the way home he held my hand the entire time. At my gate he stopped, drew a small velvet box from his pocket, and opened it to reveal a delicate necklace, 2 intertwined letters twining into a single pendant. Your 18th birthday gift, early, he said. He fastened it around my neck himself. The cool chain touched my skin, but my heart burned. Ren, he said, staring into my eyes, wait for me. Those 4 words were a spell, and under them I had waited, willingly, for more than 1,000 days and nights. Now, looking back, every beautiful thing about that day feels like a carefully woven dream. And I was the fool who sank into it and refused to wake up. 10. Ethan's pursuit proved even more stubborn than I'd imagined. He blocked my way on campus almost every single day. Flowers, gifts, every pretty word in the book. He had even learned to apologize in a humble whisper. Our position seemed completely reversed. He had become the chaser, I, the one being chased. But nothing he did could touch me anymore. Once a heart is shattered, it's hard to warm it again. I threw myself into classes and the things I loved. Aaron and I grew closer by the day. He invited me out to shoot photos all the time. Together we visited ancient alleys, quiet bookshops, bustling markets. Through his lens I met a different version of myself. A girl who could laugh without restraint, whose eyes held steady, who carried herself with calm confidence. Aaron never stinted on praise. He said I was his best model, his most inspiring muse. I knew he was encouraging me. Yet those words truly, bit by bit, restored the confidence I had lost. That weekend Mom called again. This time her tone was gentler. Ren, come home for the weekend. I made your favorite braised pork belly. I knew it was a trap. But I was done running. Some things have to be faced. Saturday, I went home. The instant I stepped through the door I saw Ethan on the living room sofa. His parents were there too. My heart lurched, I understood at once. A three-court tribunal. Sterling leapt up the moment she saw me, grabbing my hand warmly. Ren's home. Come sit. I haven't seen you in ages, growing prettier every day. I tugged the corner of my mouth in reply. Mom carried fruit from the kitchen, smiling. A tiny quarrel between kids, and you still made the trip. Sterling cleared his throat and spoke. Hayes, that's not right. This time Afong was definitely at fault. He shot Ethan a glare. Apologize to Ren, now. Ethan stood, walked over, head lowered. Ren, I'm sorry. I looked at him and said nothing. The adults jumped in one after another, smoothing things over. See? He knows he was wrong, so forgive him. Exactly, Ren, you two grew up together, childhood sweethearts. What hurdle can't you get past? Childhood sweethearts. The way they said it sounded so natural. As if we were destined to be together. As if every grievance of mine were mere childish tantrums. A wave of exhaustion hit me. I didn't want to argue anymore. I slipped the intertwined letter pendant off my neck, 3 years I'd worn it, and set it on the coffee table in front of him. This is yours. Take it back. Everyone froze. Ethan's face went paper white. He stared at the pendant like it was burning his fingers. Ren, what does this mean? I looked at him calmly. Nothing much, just that what isn't mine shouldn't stay with me. And, Uncle Sterling, Aunt Sterling, Mom, Dad, I need to make this clear. Ethan and I were never what you imagined. Not in the past, not now, and never will be in the future. 11. After I spoke, the living room sank into dead silence. Mom and Dad's faces were dark. Sterling and his wife looked mortified, stunned. Ethan only stared at the pendant, mute. I couldn't stay another second. I told my parents I was going to my room. The moment the door shut, all strength left me. I leaned against it, gasping for air. So saying it out loud feels this good, I thought. That evening Aaron messaged me. The photos are printed. Want me to bring them over? His text warmed me. No need. I'm home. Perfect, then tomorrow I'll bring them. I already matte framed the print for you. He tacked on a grinning emoji. I smiled back at the screen. There really was someone in this world who cared about me without agenda. Next day I returned to campus. Outside Whitman, Aaron waited under a tree, hugging a large frame. He hurried over the instant he saw me. Here, your photo. I took it, a shot of me on an old stone bridge in a cheap how-inspired dress, glancing back and smiling. Dappled sunlight sifted through the leaves onto me. Even I found the bright girl in the picture unfamiliar. He'd framed it in a vintage wooden frame that felt rich and textured. Thank you, Aaron. It's beautiful. You're the beautiful one, he said, looking straight at me. My cheeks flamed traitorously. We stood there, silence settling. Aaron finally spoke. Ren, He wanted to say something. T hesitated. Just then an ill-timed voice cut in. Ren. Ethan, where had he come from, stood nearby, face storm dark. He walked over step by step, gaze falling on the frame in my arms, eyes glacial. What's that? Nothing that concerns you. I hugged it tighter. He turned his stare to Aaron, sizing him up with open hostility. Who are you? Aaron stepped forward, steady. Ren's friend, Aaron. Friend? Ethan sneered. Since when do friends give gifts like that? His words dripped provocation. Aaron's brows drew together. What I give my friend has nothing to do with you. Huh? Ethan's eyes swung back to me. Your taste keeps sinking, Ren. Without another glance at Aaron, he spun on his heel and left. That haughty posture, as though he were the victor. Watching his back, I felt nothing, no ripple in my heart. Only vague amusement. 12. Ethan's taunt didn't drive Aaron and me apart. If anything, it nudged our relationship onto a subtler track. We still attended classes and photo outings together, but our chats drifted into more personal territory. I learned he loved old movies, loved rock. He discovered I have a sweet tooth and dread thunder. Like kids swapping secrets, we stepped into each other's worlds, bit by bit. The feeling was new and warm. In all my years with Ethan I had never experienced anything like it. After I explicitly rejected the so-called engagement, Ethan quieted for a while. I thought he'd finally let go. Turns out I was naive. He simply changed tactics. He began appearing wherever I was. My lecture hall, he'd sit in the last row. The library, he'd claim the seat opposite. The dining hall, he'd set his tray beside me. He never spoke, never disrupted, he only watched, a silent, omnipresent shadow. His behavior set campus buzzing. Gossip about us spread like wildfire. Some said I was a gold-digging witch who ditched her poor childhood sweetheart after landing a bigger fish. They had no clue Ethan's family was richer than most. Others claimed he was a devoted soul who kept yearning after being dumped. Every version was vivid. I became a campus celebrity. Wherever I walked, people pointed and whispered. I didn't care what they said about me, but I worried it might taint Aaron. I found a chance to apologize to him. Sorry, Aaron, has all that noise caused you trouble? Aaron was cleaning his camera. He looked up. Trouble? None at all. He smiled. People can flap their lips, I can't control that. Doesn't bother me. But, Ren, he interrupted, meeting my eyes, the only opinion I care about is yours. Do you think I'm trouble? I stared into his clear eyes and shook my head hard. He beamed, winter sun warm. Then we're good. He paused, as though nerving himself. Ren, I like you. Not as a friend, man to woman. I don't know exactly what happened between you and him, and I won't pry. I only want you to know, if you'll let me, I want to give you a future where you never have to look at anyone's face again. Everything you've ever given me is only what you think I ought to like. You've never, not once, asked me what I actually want. When I finished, I took Aaron's hand, turned, and walked away. Behind me, Ethan's silence stretched on and on. I didn't look back. I was afraid that if I did, I'd see the hurt on his face and my heart would soften again. We'd gone quite a distance before Aaron spoke softly. Ren, you were so cool back there. I couldn't help laughing. The gloom inside me seemed to lift, just a little. That day, I suddenly remembered the necklace I'd tossed onto the coffee table. The pendant that looked like two letters twisted together. I used to believe those letters were L and E, our initials. I'd been flattering myself. Only much later did I chance upon Sienna's signature, two flamboyant letters, S and N, exactly the shape of that pendant. Turns out, from the very beginning, I was nothing but a stand-in. A pathetic substitute he used to remember someone else. SE14. Once I knew the truth about the necklace, the last trace of reluctance I felt toward Ethan evaporated. I no longer avoided him, no longer feared him. When we met again, my heart was calm, as still as water. Like looking at a stranger who once knew me best. I started to consider, seriously, my relationship with Aaron. He's a wonderful guy. Warm, sunny, upright. With him I feel lighter and freer than I ever have. I no longer need to tiptoe around, trying to read his moods. I no longer worry that some shortcoming of mine will anger him. I can simply be my truest self. After finals week ended, winter break began. I didn't go home, I stayed on campus. Aaron didn't leave either. He said he wanted to keep me company. On New Year's Eve we went to the supermarket and bought bags of groceries. Back at his Aaron, we wrapped dumplings together and watched the gala on TV. His Aaron was tiny but cozy. The walls were covered with his photography. The largest print was the photo he'd taken of me in the old town. At the stroke of midnight, brilliant fireworks exploded outside the window. We stood side by side, watching blossom after blossom flare across the night sky. Aaron slipped his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on top of my head. Ren, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Ren, he added, voice suddenly nervous, have you thought it over? I turned to face him. With the sky full of fireworks, his eyes outsparkled the stars. I rose on my toes and lightly pressed a kiss to his lips. Aaron, I'm willing. Willing to leave the past behind and walk toward you. Willing to place my future in your hands. Aaron froze. Then immense joy washed over him. He hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. Juan, thank you. Thank you for giving me this chance. I hugged him back. Inside, I felt steadier, calmer than ever before. So this is what it feels like to be chosen, truly chosen. So this is how beautiful mutual love can be. 15. The news that Aaron and I were toget. Her reached Ethan almost immediately. Zane spilled it in their group chat. Holy crap. Huge news. Ren the little shadow actually has a new boyfriend. He attached a photo, Aaron and me shopping in the supermarket, snapped without our noticing. In it we're pushing one cart, laughing brightly. Ethan didn't reply in the chat. That night, however, he got blind drunk, drove to our university, parked beneath Whitman, and called me again and again. I didn't answer. So he sat in the car leaning on the horn, blast after blast, shrill and crazed. The whole dormitory was startled. Students flung open windows, craning their necks for gossip. I stood at my window, staring coldly at the black Range Rover below. Not a ripple inside me. Aaron called. Juan, don't be afraid. I'll go talk to him. No need, I said. Let him make his racket. When he tires, he'll leave. Sure enough, half an hour later campus security arrived. Ethan, written off as a disorderly drunk, was escorted to the guardhouse. Next morning the incident topped campus. Shock. Finance heartthrob Ethan drunk drives to girl's dorm, honks love serenade at midnight. The Post painted me as a manipulative, fickle witch and Ethan as a pitiful, lovelorn martyr. The comments were almost unanimous, everyone cursed me. Aaron was furious and wanted to argue with them online. I stopped him. Pointless. They own their tongues, we can't control them. But Aaron, I said, smiling, I don't care. Right now, the only one I care about is you. He looked at me, his eyes full of heartache. He pulled me into his arms and held me tightly. Juan, you've suffered. I shook my head. No suffering. Compared to the grievances of the past dozen years, a few rumors were nothing. As long as you're beside me, I'm not afraid of anything. 16. Ethan's parents came to my home once more. This time their attitude was even more humble. They brought lavish gifts and honeyed words for my parents. Their message was simple: they hope Ethan and I would start over. They even offered to arrange our engagement dinner at once, using a marriage certificate to bind the two of us together. My parents were tempted. In their eyes the Sterling family was wealthy and powerful, and Ethan only had eyes for me. Such a match, they sighed, could not be found even with a lantern. My mother exhorted me bitterly. Ren, stop being willful. Ethan truly knows he was wrong, give him one more chance. Mom, I'm not being willful. Then what are you? This new boyfriend of yours, what's his name? Aaron? What does his family do? Can he compare to Ethan? Mom, love isn't a contest. Love won't put food on the table. Her voice rose. Child, why are you so stubborn? I'm your mother, would I ever hurt you? I looked at her and suddenly felt exhausted. I knew explanations were useless. In her eyes, choosing Aaron over Ethan was idiocy, a joke with my own future. I didn't want another fight. The two families arranged to meet at a high-end restaurant that weekend, one last negotiation. The atmosphere at the table was awkward. Ethan's parents tried every matchmaking trick, my parents chimed in from the sidelines. Only Ethan and I said nothing to each other. He kept staring at me, remorse and pain written all over his face. I didn't even spare him a glance. Halfway through, Sterling cleared his throat. Since everyone's here, let's settle the children's matter. I think the 8th of next month is auspicious. We can hold the engagement dinner then. Mother beamed at once. Wonderful, we agree. Father nodded as well. All eyes turned to me, waiting for my nod. I set down my chopsticks and dabbed my mouth with the napkin. Then I lifted my gaze and, word by word, declared, I don't agree. I will not enter into this engagement. Because I already have a boyfriend. I love him very much, and he loves me. 17. My words detonated like a bomb in the private dining room. Everyone was stunned. Mother's face flushed the color of pig liver. Ren, what nonsense are you spouting? I'm not spouting anything, I said calmly. I'm telling the truth. Ethan's complexion went paper white. His lips trembled, but no sound came out. He probably never imagined that the girl who had always bowed to him would humiliate him in front of both families. The dinner ended on a sour note. Back home, Mother, for the first time, raised her hand to me. A slap landed on my cheek, burning hot. Why did I give birth to such an ungrateful wretch? We paved the road for you, yet you insist on crossing a rickety plank. Do you want to drive me to my grave? She sobbed herself hoarse. I covered my cheek. I didn't cry, didn't speak. I knew she hadn't meant to hit me. She was only bitterly disappointed, because I refused to live the life she had mapped out. That night I packed a suitcase and left home. I called Aaron. He arrived within minutes. Seeing the red handprint on my face, his eyes reddened instantly. He asked nothing, only slipped his coat over my shoulders and held me tight. Juan, don't be afraid. I'm here. In that moment every ounce of strength and pretense collapsed. I burrowed into his chest and wept aloud, releasing all the grievances and bitterness of the past dozen years. 18. Aaron and I rented a tiny studio near campus and started living together. The room was small but cozy. Aaron arranged it neatly. Photos of us covered the walls. All kinds of succulents lined the balcony. We lived like any ordinary couple, shopping for groceries, cooking side by side, curling up on the sofa to watch movies. He blow-dried my hair, tied my shoelaces, I brewed him hot tea and sliced fresh fruit while he worked. Plain days, full of everyday sparks, peaceful, happy, things I'd never tasted before. Ethan never sought me out again. I heard his father had packed him off to an overseas branch, utterly disappointed in him, I suppose. Sienna also left the country, they said she went to study piano. All the people who once whipped up tempests in my life gradually drifted out of it. At last my world regained its calm. Aaron and I began to map our future. He planned to open his own photo hail. I, too, found my direction. I've loved handicrafts since childhood, and I've always been drawn to fashion design. I enrolled in a design course to study systematically. Aaron encouraged me. Juan, chase what you love. Don't worry about money, I'm here. I looked at him and laughed. I don't want to be kept. I'll earn my own money and support you someday. He laughed too, ruffling my hair. Deal. I'll wait to be supported. Sunlight streamed through the window, bathing us in warmth. Suddenly I felt all those years of stubborn waiting had been a joke. I chased a light that was never mine, only to discover the one who truly illuminates my life had been beside me all along. It was only I who had been blind, unable to see. Fortunately, waking up now still isn't too late. Fortunately, I still have the chance to embrace the happiness that truly belongs to me. 19. After graduation, Aaron's studio was on its feet almost immediately. He's gifted, there's a singular texture and storytelling pull to every photo he takes. More and more clients seek him out. From individual portraits at the start, to wedding photography later, then on to commercial ads. His reputation in the industry keeps climbing. I don't idle either. The garments I design win first prize, unexpectedly, in a rookie designer competition. My collection catches the eye of a well-known label, Nova, and they offer me a contract. I become an independent designer under their name. We each shine in our own fields. We move into a larger apartment, our own home. We adopt a golden retriever and name him Sunshine, because, like Aaron, he's warm and healing. Life moves steadily toward everything we hoped for. Now and then I still think of Ethan, but the bitterness and resentment are gone. All that lingers is a faint sigh. I hear he's doing brilliantly abroad, running the branch office with impressive results. Apparently he's also dating someone new, a beautiful foreign girl. We have simply walked onto separate paths. Our lives no longer intersect. And that, really, is fine. In my 3rd year with Aaron, he proposes. In the very classroom where we first met. He arranges it to mirror our first field trip to Maplewood, grass, lake, star-filled sky. He kneels, takes out the ring, eyes red. Ren, 3 years ago in this room, I first noticed you. You always kept your head down, as if carrying the world. I kept thinking, what kind of jerk could make a girl this wonderful so unhappy? Later, I was thankful that jerk let go of your hand. It gave me the chance to stand beside you. Ren, maybe I don't have his money or his honeyed words. But I can promise to spend my life loving you, respecting you, protecting you. I won't let you suffer even a hint of wrong. So, Ren, will you marry me? I look at him, tears streaming, and nod with all my strength. I will. Aaron, I will. 20. Our wedding is simple. We invite only the closest family and friends. My parents come too. When they look at Aaron, their eyes hold relief and approval. Time has proven that my choice was right. I wear a wedding gown of my own design. Aaron says I'm the most beautiful bride he has ever seen. We exchange rings and, surrounded by blessings, kiss. In that moment I feel the happiest woman alive. Married life is no different from before, still the daily grind, still warm and sweet. Only our identities have gained another layer. We are husband and wife, the most important person in each other's life. Together we'll face whatever storms lie ahead. Together we'll grow old, until our hair turns white and our steps slow. And the one beside us is still the very first one we chose. 21. Ethan returns to Riverdale 2 years after our wedding to take over the family business. I run into him at an industry gala. He looks older, mo. Regrounded. His tailored suit makes him seem even taller and straighter. Beside him stands a stunning woman, his fiancée. We lock eyes across the crowd. His gaze is complicated, surprise, loneliness, and something I can't read. I give him a polite smile, then, arm linked through Aaron's, walk past. As we brush shoulders I hear him whisper, almost inaudibly, I'm sorry. I don't look back. An apology this late means nothing to me. Between us, the ledger is already clean. After the reception Aaron and I head home. Suddenly he asks, seeing him just now, did it hurt? I shake my head. Not anymore. It feels like waking from a long, long dream. In the dream I kept chasing a silhouette I could never reach. Now the dream is over, and I've found the one who stayed beside me all along. I turn to Aaron. Under the streetlight his profile is gentle yet steady. I tighten my grip on his hand. Aaron, thank you. Thank you for letting me know what real love is. He laughs and pulls me close. Silly girl, I should thank you. Thank you for choosing me. Yes, thank us for meeting the right person at the right time. Thank us for not missing each other. 22. Ethan's point of view. 1. The name Ren once equaled nuisance and clingy in my mind. She was like my shadow, wherever I went, she followed. Quiet, unobtrusive, barely there. But I always knew she was present. I grew used to it, used to the water she handed me after basketball, used to spotting her small figure beneath my window when I came home, used to the worship and dependence shining in her eyes. That constancy made me feel secure, and gave me an inexplicable sense of superiority. I knew she liked me, had known since we were kids. Her gaze couldn't hide it. I never called her out. I enjoyed being adored, enjoyed the ambiguous flirtation. I admit, I was scum. I took everything she gave without a qualm, while inside I yearned for someone else, someone out of reach. Sienna. She was like a star in the sky, dazzling yet distant. I loved her face, her talent, the unworldly air about her. I believed I would marry no one but her. So whenever Ren looked at me with wounded eyes, I felt a twinge but mostly indifference. After all, she wouldn't leave. She loved me too much, how could she? That arrogance let me hurt her again and again, until I went abroad. Before I left I went to Sienna. I meant to confess, to tell her I would give up everything for her. But she said she already had a boyfriend, they were heading to England together. In that instant my world caved in. On the way to the airport I drank too much. I saw Ren. She stood at arrivals, rising on tiptoe, anxiously scanning the crowd. The moment she spotted me her eyes lit up, the only star in my night. I don't know what drove me, spite, jealousy, desperation. I pulled her into a corner and kissed her. Wait for me, I said. The words felt hollow. I had no idea what, exactly, she was waiting for, or what future I could give her when I came back. Selfishly, I just wanted to keep her tied to me so I wouldn't be left with nothing. 23. Ethan's point of view. 2. Those 3 years overseas were miserable. I buried myself in work, trying to numb the ache, yet every night memories of Ren flooded in, her flushed cheeks as she offered me water, her small silhouette waiting for me to come home, her sparkling eyes whenever she looked my way. All the scenes I'd ignored replayed endlessly, until I finally realized that what I felt wasn't mere habit. Unknowingly she had seeped into my bones, become part of me. I missed her with a ferocity that startled me. I texted and called every day, hearing her gentle voice relate the small details of her life filled the emptiness inside. I told her I loved her, that when I came back we would marry. I thought, as always, she would wait. I believed that whenever I turned around she would still be there. I was wrong. The day I returned, at the airport, I cracked the joke that would haunt me forever. I told Zane and the others I'd dumped her, that she'd been dead weight. I didn't know she was close enough to hear every word. When I realized she was gone she no longer answered my calls or replied to my texts. Only then did I understand, I might truly have lost her. Panic set in. I searched like a madman, her campus, her home, every means possible to win her back. I cast aside every shred of pride and begged. But she never looked at me again. Her gaze was ice. She said we were finished, that she loved someone else. I saw her standing beside Aaron, a perfect, radiant couple, and I knew I had lost her for good. The girl who once saw only me was gone, pushed away by my own hand. I watched her, in a gown she designed, marry another man. I watched her shine in the career she chose. I watched her thrive, happy and luminous. I was glad for her, and endlessly sad for myself. If time could rewind I would never let go of her hand, I would love her the way she deserved. But there are no ifs. The greatest regret of my life is missing Ren, and I will spend whatever remains of it paying for the wrong I did. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, please hit like and share with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales. See you next time.